I'm so serious about my celibacy journey that if I never get married, I'm never gonna have again. I wish that was like respected more, like in a different way. That more people really understood the weight of that and what that really means. Hello. So I didn't think I'd make this video so soon. I thought I'd wait until my channel was like much bigger or something. But this dating these days, this is an area that has made dating very tricky for me. And there are like small moments where I'm like, I'm not gonna say wondering why I'm doing this, but like, I just get hopeless sometimes. So that's hard for me. But I noticed so I decided to look at different people's like celibacy journeys, and I noticed, there's a good number of people who will say they're celibate and they're really just abstinent. So there's that. But I noticed that there aren't many people who have a similar story like I do, or journey. The way mine started, it was just kind of very unintentional, which is typically not how I roll. I'm pretty much very intentional about the things I do. So it kind of happened by accident. Yeah, technically my journey started when I was pregnant with my son. I just found out I was pregnant. So I think I was like, I don't know, however many weeks. Maybe it was like 2 months or something. And I met this woman who I don't like how this is looking. Down? Do you want it down? Oh yeah, that's cute. That's cute. Okay. So yeah, I was about 2 months pregnant with my son, and I met this woman who is now a really good friend of mine still. She's a lifer. And let's just say she helps people. That's just like her passion. She helps people a lot. And I remember she's talking to me about she's Christian, and she's talking to me and brings up like at some point like celibacy. And at the time I was in a relationship with someone, or seeing someone complicated. And this person was not my son's father, by the way. Or is not, rather. And him and I, we were struggling, to say the least. And she brought up like celibacy, which for me is like hilarious, because most people don't know this about me, but of the deadly sins, lust was really the only one I really ever had issues with, but it caused a lot of problems in my relationships prior to now. It just led my life, led my relationships. I've always been a person who just sticks with one person at a time, like monogamous, even if it's not a relationship. Like if I had a friend with benefits, like it's just them or whatever. So I have no issue with loyalty, but I would either get in relationships that were centered around sex, or I would stay in unhealthy relationships only because of sex. Like knowing I deserved better or knowing I could go get better, I would stay for the sex and stuff like that. Um, and yeah, most of my relationships were decently long. I guess it just depends on your idea of long. I would say on average they were like 2 years. So her saying this to me, like, I just I didn't laugh at it by any means, especially because she sold it well. But I was just like, how does that even work for me? Like, how I couldn't fathom how that could work for me, because though I kind of wanted to get married, I didn't really. I'd always had like commitment issues up until this point, I would say. And so I think I had like two partners I talked about marriage. Like one I talked about marriage with, but knowing I would not marry that person. Um, and then another I really, really wanted to. I think in the past I always imagined myself being the person that would like get cold feet close to the end and like not go through with it. I'd only go so far. Uh, that's what I think I used to be. So not only to go through that, getting married, but to like wait and be celibate until marriage. I just couldn't really fathom that working for me. Mainly because of fear. Like I had a lot of trust issues. I still do have trust issues with people. But most certainly then, in my outlook on marriage wasn't like so great, like there's statistics, of course, and just my parents and witnessing them, I was just kind of like, I couldn't see enough benefit for the risk at the time. And I just, in my mind, I just felt like any man I would ever get with would cheat on me at some point. Like, that's just genuinely, I knew it was a possibility that wouldn't happen, right? But I genuinely felt like the risk was too high and I didn't want to risk it because I knew if that were to happen to me, then I would leave said person and then like, ooh, are our finances tied together? Like, what's, do we have kids? What's the circumstance like? How does that look like for me? And watching my mother go through, my parents are divorced. Watching my mother go through that, I was like, yeah, that sounds like something I'd never want to like sign myself up for. Unless like I made most of the money, to be quite honest. That would be like the only way I felt like I would marry someone. Ironically enough, the one person I did consider marrying is the person I've been in a relationship with who actually had the most money out of all the people. That's not why I considered marrying him in the least. But it is kind of ironic because I actually thought I wanted to marry in the opposite way. That not that he doesn't make good money, but that I made significantly more than him, so that if he left and I had the house, I could afford the house and stay, and I'd be good, and like I could go on about my life. Like if he cheated or whatever, or left me for someone, this was like always this underlying fear of people change and looks are fading. Not that I care so much. I don't put my stock in my looks, but some other people do. But unfortunately. Uh, so, yeah, I didn't really want to get married. Now I do so much. So funny. Um, but yeah, so she's telling me about this, like, and she didn't press me hard about it, but like, okay, she gave me enough information. I'm like, all right, okay, because she talked to me about like, submitting to each other. Husband and wives are supposed to submit to each other, and why husbands love your wives as Christ loved the church, and let's see, and as himself and all those things. So I was like, okay, like I hear you, because up until that point, I'm like submitting to man. I was definitely a very hyper independent type personality. I used to be the whole like 50-50, except for like dates, but like as far as like expenses for a home, like if I lived with a partner, I was much so like that. I think it's just like not wanting people to hold things over my head, hold things against me. I didn't want to hear about like, oh, I do all this for the like, no, we both do everything. So like, shut up. I think that's very much of like how I wanted to be able to be. Um, I no longer want that or think that way. I mean, yeah, I definitely don't want 50-50, but at the same time, I'm not trying to be a person who is only like a homemaker. That doesn't fit for me either. Um, but I would definitely like the option depending. I would like the flexibility of fitting where it makes sense whenever I feel like or we feel like it makes sense. Um, I wouldn't want someone who wants me to only do this or only do that. Um, but yeah, so in the past, like the whole submitting and stuff like that, I was just like I couldn't get my head around that. The way it's put out, like the worldly view versus what's like actually stated in the Bible. Um, that always used to trip me out. I was like, I don't even like how that sounds. Um, until I really like read more and stuff. So she tells me all that. She gives me information, like, and I still have like she gives me this binder that I keep it with, and I still have like all that stuff. And I go home, I look into it. I'm like, all right, okay. But the dilemma we had here was that I was already with someone who had already been intimate with, and I'm like, how am I supposed to? What do you want me to do now? Like, and this person actually at the time was like talking about marrying me, and at the time I did not want to marry him. um, well, also because the reason he wanted to marry me, I didn't like that. That was really the thing that bothered me. And I'm like, how we're already intimate, like how are we gonna, like, so I just kind of like dropped it, moved on with my life a little bit. Like it's too much going on in my life at the time to really like that was the least of my concern. Well, fast forward, some things happen. I won't go into detail, but things happen that like despite that him and I were still together, kind of accidentally I ended up like celibate while I was with him. And it was yeah, details. It was like this weird mutual situation. I would say that was completely unplanned. It's a really funny story actually. So real quick, I just want to add for context. I just can't give all the details about the situation just to protect other people. But I will add, okay, so how I accidentally ended up abstinent is that like I went into preterm labor when I was pregnant with my son around 5 months. And then like after that, I was very much like, don't touch me. Because like I didn't want to risk losing my son. So yeah, that was totally unintentional, but I was like not about like to lose my kid. But so yeah, it started when I was like 5 months pregnant or something like that. Yeah, and him and we were together for a while. I think until like my son was 1 or somewhere around there. Yeah, we were unfortunately like an off and on situations, which is something I typically don't do, but this was a special case where him and I were very off and on a lot. So over the course of like 4 years, 5 years, I don't even know. So I accidentally end up abstaining for I think I got to like 2.5 years. Then I had a slip up. Like it wasn't totally like it was not like it was an accident or something. But um, let's just say I was motivated for a particular reason. This was a person who like who lived on the other side of the country, and I was like, well, I'm gonna see them for this time period, and like they'll go back over there. I'll go back to my. That was like kind of like the only reason I was willing to do it, because I'd known this person for a long time anyway. But I knew they weren't gonna really bug me. Um, and so I did, and this was the first time in my life where I had feelings about it, like about being intimate with someone, where like I had not so great feelings. I don't even know, to be quite honest. But I would hear about women like, oh, like after they felt like crap or whatever. I wouldn't quite say it was quite that, but definitely. I just want to add to like, as far as intimacy, like basically I'd realized for this person I broke my celibacy for, that like the previous unhealthy habits I had in that realm with like detaching emotionally, like it just was no longer a thing. I couldn't do that anymore. And man, like timing is everything, because I was already becoming that way. Like right before I got pregnant, um, I had kind of like realized like I started getting like this weird like energy to like um be emotionally attached to someone where I'd never been before. Um, so some of my old ways were already going away a little bit anyway. Right before I got pregnant. Uh, so yeah, I mean that's obviously it's like a good thing. It was just like, oh, okay, like interesting. Like I'm changing. Uh. Kawaii. So yeah, I just wanted to add that context. Definitely felt like, what the heck? Like, what did I do that for? And like, it, it really did feel like a waste of my time, not because, just because it just wasn't what I wanted. Um, excuse my voice changing. I am currently like struggling with sinusitis, getting over being sick. But yeah, so I just got nothing out of it. Honestly, I just got nothing out of it, and it wasn't. I just was like, yeah, I don't really want to do that again. Because why? Like, I broke my celibacy, like, and it really wasn't worth it. There's really no reason to break it. No reason. I just didn't. It wasn't worth it. And it caused problems, of course. Um, and that this person got attached. And I was really confused because this person like didn't want to have kids. I knew that. So I was like, okay, safe person. Like they're not interested in me like that. So so supposedly they didn't want to have kids. I already have a kid. And like they weren't kid yeah, they just weren't kid friendly person, right? And they live on the other side of the country. So I was like, oh, I'm good. No. Then they got hooked. They're like, oh, wanting to buy me and my son a house and wanting us to live together. And then I was like, oh crap, Taylor, what have you done? I was like, great. I thought for sure this wouldn't happen. um, so then I was like, yeah, I can't do this to another person, and I can't do this to myself. It really, like, the beginning of my celibacy journey, it was really for my son, I'd say. Like, one, I just like I said, I don't trust people. So I'm very particular about like who I bring around my son, and very particular about, yeah. Um, I think I've only had two people of it, like romantic interest been around my son like that. It was the guy I was with off and on, and then the most recent guy I dated, and like that's it. Like I'm actually stricter now as far as like people meeting him and stuff. So like the first 2.5 years, I mean, really that was for my son. It wasn't even for myself. And it was kind of for God, but like I said, it was an accident, kind of. But I just the first 2 years of my son, I was so freaking present, like all in, 1,000%. Like I was a highly attentive parent. I still am, but like not to that degree. It was just very intense. I think the first 2 years, I wasn't on social media at all. I didn't even post about my son until like he was 2, and I just didn't talk to anyone. I wasn't texting people like at all. Like no dating apps, like nothing. Um, I just was all into him, and I love it. I loved it. It's great. So also just like modeling for him. I was very serious. I was like, okay, after becoming a mom, I'm like, yes, it's very serious to have like a covenant relationship surrounding children. That's just what I believe. That's my belief. So I'd rather be alone than have the wrong person around him, period. So yeah, the first 2 years, 2.5 years, I did it solely for him. And um, for God, but not enough. Anyway, so I have a slip up right, and that chills out. The man comes back to his senses. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Not doing that again. Okay, so yeah, I think my story is pretty much over. My son came in here. My son came in here. I woke up from his nap. Scared me. Cause didn't hear him coming. Cause yeah. So like, I have the moment with a guy, and realize like, okay, yes, I do want to be. I do want to wait to marriage. I do want to wait to marriage. Um, and to be intimate with someone. And it wasn't until then that like I was doing it for me too. Where it was like a self-love thing and a godly love, honoring God thing. As prior to, I really think it was just my son, it's my motivation, and now I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not until I'm married. I'm just not going to. I was done with lust. Well, I was done with that aspect of lust governing my life and having so much control over me. I thought I was in control, really, I did. Yeah, I was just done with it governing my life, and I just at a certain point, I was like, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it to um be intimate with anyone unless they're my husband. That's just genuinely how I feel. So that started. It's been it's almost been 5 years. Well, it's been more than 5 years since I started my celibacy journey. But yeah, well, it's crazy. Now I'm almost at 3 years since I've been with anyone, and I've dated one person, like been in a relationship with one person, um, since in the last, almost last 3 years, full 3 years. Uh, yeah, which was interesting. Um, I would definitely probably do a video on like what it's like dating while I'm celibate, obviously. it's just me, man. It's just me being a mom. I'm just a mom and I work. I'm not just a mom, but like that's what I do. I don't get out much. I'm introverted anyway. I'm very, very introverted. And um but on top of that, like um because I have trust issues, I don't trust people easily. So I just don't. There's not very many people I trust to watch my son, which means it makes it really hard for me to make time to do like anything. Just like hanging out, because I just worry about him a lot when I'm away from him. And vice versa. He worries about me a lot when I'm away from him. We both sit and we're literally like so many times I'll like come home from work and he's, mommy. He might even like, and my son, I love him so much. Sometimes he cries when I come home a lot of the time. And he's like, Mom, yeah, he's so worried about you. We're like two peas in a pod. Very much alike. Um, which, yeah. He's very much like his dad. I mean, his dad very much alike. I didn't know that, actually, how much we were alike. Until I had my son, I'm like, oh. Yeah. I feel like there's more to say, but I don't know. If you have questions, let me go. No, as far as like how serious I am about my celibacy journey, but I'm so serious about my celibacy journey that if I never get married, I'm never gonna have sex again. And I can't believe I can say that and mean it. Like, I genuinely mean it. Yeah. I wish that was like respected more, like in a different way. That more people really understood the weight of that and what that really means. But I mean, hey, me before I decided to go celibate, if anybody had told me like a guy met a guy and then he told me he's celibate, I'm like, oh, it's good for you. Bye. I would have, and that's just my reality. Like, most people are not interested in dating me because of it. Which is bittersweet. I mean, it's mostly sweet. It's good. It protects you. And people who truly aren't trying to be there for forever, or too scared to risk being there for forever. Like, yeah. I used to think like, oh, I was really in it, more in it in relationships than I was. Now I know I'm definitely like if I start a relationship with anybody, like I'm here, I'm there, I'm not going anywhere. Unless it just doesn't make sense. But one thing I will say, in these last 2 years, I've been through so much crap. So many storms by myself. And like made it through. I've stuck it out. That's a good thing about me being a parent. It taught me how to stick it out, like really stick it out. Like when things get hard, I hunker down. I don't run. And I always thought I hunkered down before, but no, I hunker down, and I've been through so much crap by myself. It's like tsunamis, hurricanes, thunderstorms, tornadoes, earthquakes, hailstorms, heavy rain, like snow. Right? And like to know that I can go through that by myself, I dang sure could go through that with someone else. Like as long as they're meeting me there, you know. Yeah, I'd much rather go through that with someone else. Yeah, the right person than by myself. It reminds me of, I don't know if you ever played the game Sky, the Children of Light. I haven't played it in years, so like when it first came out, so I don't know how it's changed or whatever, but when it first came out, I remember I played it, and there's like parts in the game where like mainly towards the end, you cannot complete the game without another person. Like you're forced to connect in order to get to where you to get to beat the game, you know, to get to the end of the game. And I kind of like that, and I think about like you literally need another person to connect to get through certain hurdles in life, and that's kind of how like my thoughts on like marriage a little bit. You know, you get so far by yourself through storms, and then so that's where I'm at. Like not even just connecting in like a marriage sense, romantic sense, but just period connecting with others. So there's this fruit fly. He likes my light. Always trying to steal my light. Anyway, I love the game. If you haven't played the game, like it's gorgeous, and I just love it. I love just things that are like aesthetically pleasing, and I am a phone gamer. I haven't done. Oh, now that I'm a mom, it's like I have no time for games. But I'm a phone gamer and a PC gamer. That's me. And I need to play that game again. But like I got irritated when they started like, you know, charging for stuff. Can we just get games with like, no, you don't have to pay for anything extra. No premium and buying this and extra that. Like just it's just free and it's an awesome game, please. No. All these apps that take all your money if you let them. So yeah, so that's my journey. I'm in it for the long haul. That's one thing about me. If I do stuff, yeah, that's one thing about me. If I do stuff, I'm in it. You know, for the most part. I'll mess around, be playing,